The Alpha Sessions.
Welcome to Alpha Sessions. I'm Diggs, and in the studio we've got Alex Comaish, who is a guitarer and looper inspired by Maisie Peters, Frank Turner and Brian Fallon from the Gaslight Anthem. It's 2022 debut EP coming up from air and radio play at BBC Bristol and Gloucestershire, and is performed at prominent venues such as 93 Feet East, Camden Assembly and the Louisiana. So welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Yeah, good.
So we were chatting just before the interview, we were talking about the writing process and how you prefer to be writing on your own rather than writing with a group or some other people.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's always been kind of like not an escape, but a kind of a way that I process things, I suppose. Yeah. So it's like a lot of like the early songs I wrote were kind of like almost like letters to myself in terms of like picking yourself up and stuff. So yeah, it always feels quite personal, and it takes quite a long time from me coming up with something in the moment where it's quite raw to the point where I feel like I can sing it distanced enough from that initial kind of feeling, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose it's, you know, being a solo artist, you end up just writing on your own anyway.
It's definitely like therapeutic.
Yeah.
As well, and like you kind of, do you find that you understand yourself in situations as you go through the writing process more, or do you kind of come in with ideas already formed that you want to write about?
I mean, quite a lot of the time I've got like 5 or 6 notebooks littered around the flat, and I just write random crap in them. Yeah. Like reasonably stream of consciousness, and then go back and kind of pick out what it was that, you know, I was trying to say in that moment, and then I go back and kind of structure things to make it work. I think it's rare that I kind of have this like idea of this, I want to write a song about this, which is why I end up with kind of songs about like starting with weird things about monkeys with typewriters.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, but that's because it was, you know, that was just something that popped into my head. Yeah. And then that took a while to just build it together to see if I could actually make something work with that.
The book theme in your lyrics comes up quite a lot. I don't know if that was, is that an intentional?
I don't know if it's I don't know if it is. I think I've always liked, you know, like lyrical music, as in terms of, you know, like good folk music or good stuff with good lyrics. And like read a lot, I suppose. Yeah. I think I kind of like, I think about it in kind of a literary sense when I'm writing sometimes. Yeah, the book thing. I hadn't actually thought. That was, yeah.
It's really cool. I really liked it, and I just wondered with the monkey in the typewriters whether like any philosophy was part of it, or.
I studied philosophy at uni.
Oh, cool.
So that idea of, you know, the monkeys with typewriters giving you the works of Shakespeare, if you give them enough time or enough monkeys. I kind of, you know, had that in the back of my head, and I just thought it'd be, it's interesting that in that situation they could give you all those words, but would it actually mean anything if it was purely by chance that you happened across those letters in that order? You know, and so that's kind of where I went with that song, is kind of the idea that it's not about necessarily the words, it's the emotion you imbue them with. Yeah. And yeah, also getting monkeys with typewriters into a song is
yeah, you get songwriting points. Yeah, you get songwriting points for that. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that. And I wondered, not jumping too far ahead into the other tracks, but I wondered if that song was like a smaller Russian doll of listening in London, if they were kind of connected.
They were written like around the same time. So I wrote Listening to London after moving to London in 2023. And then the first time that I kind of played it live, I was back in Bristol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was that quick. And then then 1,000 Ways, but the Monkey Typewriter song came about quite quickly after that as well. And I don't know if they're like necessarily like linked like thematically, but I suppose it's they're kind of ponderous, I suppose. Mm-hmm. I think I ended up like asking quite a lot of questions in my songs that I don't I don't actually answer.
Yeah. That's cool. It's cool. So your EP comes out in 2022.
Yeah.
You moved to London in 2023. Was
Yeah.
your move to London inspired by the music?
We live in a very small village in the middle of nowhere, in South Gloucestershire. Like it makes Hot Fuzz look busy.
Yeah.
And so at that time I had a band, and we were doing other stuff. But everyone moved to London, so I moved to London, got a job working in a venue, and it was meant to be, we went to conquer the world.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen. Well, everything kind of fell apart a little bit. People got real jobs, and we all realised how hard and expensive it was to actually do all this stuff. So that EP, like those first 4 songs were kind of like songs that I'd written for the band, but weren't actually ended up being right for the band. So I recorded that as a bit of almost like just for me, and then was lucky enough that they played it over at BBC Bristol, BBC Gloucestershire, and that was really cool. And then moved to London, didn't work out, and decided at that point to come home and move back into Mum's place, and then spend a year just gigging and writing as much as I could. So I was driving all over, playing as many like little festivals and gigs and stuff as I could for that year, so that I could come back like with a stronger base, and like more things under my belt. So that we can now push it forwards with more music. Yeah,
and failures in journey just make for great songs, right? So
it's always been a great story introducing that song and saying I wrote this about London, I don't live there anymore.
So I'm definitely gonna have to go back. No,
it's I think it taught me that I really do love it. And you keep finding ways to make it happen, or to make it work if you do.
So you work, speaking of with the band kind of going their own ways, you work with, I hope I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Finn Kumarasamy. And he's production and works on music.
Yeah, so he recorded the last 2 singles that I put out. So it was just Listening to London, and before that a song called Brother, which is not about the brother that's actually here. It never is. The other one never shows up. And so I was doing a gig in Bristol, and he was the sound engineer for that night, and we got to chatting, and he was doing his like final year studying music production and technology, so I got to go into the studios there at the uni and record with him.
Wicked.
Which was really cool to kind of get like a really like live feel, because I've done a lot of bedroom recordings, and it's kind of you're missing something. Then that was really, really cool. Listening to London, like I don't know what we did, but somehow it the recording came out like more than the sum of its parts.
Amazing.
Which is always fun. And there was Jake as well, who's the drummer. I kind of came in. I can't play drums to save my life. So he came in and he added the oomph that was needed. We recorded a few other things that I'm kind of sitting on. But
wicked. Because they're definitely complementary, because we talked about finding people. Maybe like writing can be difficult to get people in. But it seems like the 2 guys that you've got in.
It's I think I know where my skill set lies, and where it doesn't. And I think having a second pair of ears, like as a producer, really helps. And also I really like I like the sound of live drums, like arrangements and stuff, like a lot of bedroom pop and stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like you can hear the drums are kind of programmed and stuff, and that's fine. But I like this kind of I like the live sound, and we were trying to capture that when we were recording, and so it's great to have someone come in that can take a basic drum part and make it really cool.
But you're quite punk inspired.
Yes, it's went to see Frank Turner when I was
brilliant.
14. Dad took me along, and kind of looked around and just thought, this is awesome. And that's when I went home and started writing songs. And I've always loved that, you can have an acoustic guitar, but you can still be punk. And the energy that you could bring into that. and yeah, like, you know, Gaslight Anthem, like, love them as well. That kind of like heartache punk, I suppose. Like,
yeah.
But I think it's the live stuff. It's that live feel, and something about like when you're playing it live and get people moving and stuff. That's you know, the best bit, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to capture that on like record is important.
Yeah, you've certainly managed to do it. Have you found that playing it live, it's a very relatable song, is Listening to London? Have you found that it's gone down?
Yeah, it's like it's the one that people I hear like humming afterwards. Yeah. Which is just that cynical kind of stuck in that really catchy bit there.
It's a banger.
It's great though. It's like I always like sticking in bits like that for live shows, because if you're playing at 25 people that don't know you, they're not going to learn the words. But if you can teach them like oh whoa whoa, like it's great, and they, you know, people have something to like get involved with, and you know, it's like it feels like more of a you know, give and take back and forth. Yeah, which I think is like a really good gig, is when everyone feels like they're actually involved with it. Yeah. No, I think that's a lot of people's kind of favourite one so far.
Well, speaking of which, we'll have a listen to you perform. This is Listening to London.
Used to be able to play that game where you read people, but it's like a language I've forgotten how to speak. Not the man I hoped I'd be by this age, more like a wide-eyed child, a tiger pacing an unlocked cage, an obsessive depressive with a self-destruct fetish, and a sly penchant for getting fucked up. Listening to London calling, feet pounding, brainstorming. Is this city yet my home, or just another set of streets to roam? Listen, London always called me big smoke fortune, classic story. The more streets that I walk down, the more home feels like London town. Oh, 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 oh. If you're not living life on the edge, you're taking up too much space. If you're not pushing the limits, then step out the race. Please move to the right side, now don't do me wrong. There's too much to see here, so move it along. An obsessive depressive with the best of intentions, who can't figure out what's going wrong. Listening to London calling, feet pounding, brainstorming. Is this city yet my home, or just another set of streets to roam? Listen, London always called me big smoke fortune, classic story. The more streets that I walk down, the more home feels like London town. Oh, 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 oh. Yet always called me. Yet always called me, and now I'm here. Listening to London calling, feet pounding, brainstorming. Is this city yet my home, or just another set of streets to roam? Listen, London always called me big smoke fortune, classic story. The more streets that I walk down, the more home feels like London town. Oh, oh.
Wicked. Well, thank you for that. That sounded brilliant. When you were talking about being stuck and kind of getting wasted and kind of wasting your time, that was kind of juxtaposed with planning and wanting to see like how far you could push yourself.
Yeah, it's I think it's, you know, you like when you move to London, it's kind of, it can be quite overwhelming. Everything's on tap all the time.
Yeah.
And
literally.
Exactly. That's the problem. Yeah. And so you find yourself in this kind of like, you know, trying to push yourself forwards, burning out, and then, you know, you can go out every night and see people, and it's all very exciting, and that doesn't help with the planning, and it's yeah. And yeah, so it was kind of like, it was this kind of weird sort of exciting time when I wrote it, but also it was kind of, I felt very like nothing was happening quickly enough. I'm very impatient.
Yeah, it's hard in London as well. If you don't come with a certain amount of money, I think like it's so expensive, and then especially being an artist, which unless you've kind of get like a cover gig going or you've got something to go into, it is incredibly hard to get on a level where you're feeling like you at least have your head above the water. Yeah,
it's it takes some budgeting.
Yeah.
To, you know, to kind of make sure that you can do everything, because you got to pay producers because they do a great job. You got to pay your photos done because they do a great job, and it's like it's seed money. That's, you know, it's They just take some planning. To get it right.
Yeah. And speaking of your producers, because we talked about Finn earlier, with the arrangements, I really enjoyed the arrangement of and the production of the video that you got on YouTube.
Yes, yeah.
Of that, which is brilliant. Can you talk us through that, because obviously a lot of effort went into.
So yeah, that was so we did that video partly because I'd written the string parts and stuff to go around the song anyway, and that was kind of how the song was in my head at the start, with all of the kind of orchestral bits at the end, and I just felt like with that it gave us like a good platform to do a music video that was more like a short film that could really tell a story. And I've got some very talented friends. It was Jade and Kritik, and they are they're actually both doing their master's film projects at LFS.
Okay.
So I got them in to do to work on this just before that, and it was great fun because, you know, I kind of showed them the song and said, "What do you think?" Like they went away, came back with this whole plan, and that was kind of nice just to be like following somebody else's lead. You know, like again, they know what they're doing in those bits, and it was great fun to make that. And yeah, I think it's cool to have that up.
Yeah. You can definitely be proud of it.
Yeah, I think it was something that we were like. I wanted to make sure that they could like that everyone involved felt like they could be proud of it, and it wasn't just a kind of slightly naff, you know, music video, but it was, you know, like well produced and polished and like told a good story and stuff. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool because Brother, you got a lyric video on YouTube. I thought it's like your DIY bedroom. But I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. That was a lot of messing around with like clip-on fisheye lenses. Oh really?
Yeah, it's like clip onto your iPhone fisheye lens, and then like chroma keying out. Like I had a lot of time.
It looks great.
That was. I kind of forgot I had that one up there still, but it's that was like I was back at home and I didn't have any budget or like time, or I had time to do this stuff, but I didn't have anywhere to do it with or anyone to do it with, so that was just the simplest thing I could do with a bit of energy. It would have been nice to do a proper music video for that one, but maybe we'll see.
I remember Kaiser Chiefs when they came out with I Predict Right. I think that was like the second time they'd released it. And it was like years before, so you never know, brother could come around again.
I mean, like Brother was that was a song that I'd had like in my back pocket for a long time, and it felt like when I went back to doing the solo stuff, having released the EP a couple of years before, it felt like the best way to kind of introduce the new, like the direction that actually is more me than that EP, because that EP is quite like 80s sounding and inspired, and like I love all of that kind of stuff, but really like that's not me, you know. So something like acousticy but also punky was the
Yeah.
like it felt like the way to step back in.
Do you find that with the older stuff, as you write newer stuff, you find it still easy to play, or that you want to play the old stuff, or do you find that when you're writing the new material that kind of takes over?
I mean, when you've just written a song, it's the most exciting thing. When you feel like you're ready to show it off, it's like that's all you want to do. There's definitely a few songs that don't get taken out of the set list at all, and there's things that rotate through. It's tricky because if I had an hour set, then I could play a lot more. But listening to London is pretty much a staple at the moment. Brothers normally in there. I've got one really, really old one that I wrote when I was like 15, 16, that we are actually recording at the moment.
Nice.
I've been sat on it for 10 years. And it's like,
nice.
So we're giving that a go now, and it felt like, I feel like it still holds up.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Because like Naive was like that for the Kooks. Like he wrote that when he was like a similar age. So
it's quite a cooksy sounding song. Actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it's bouncy acoustic soft rock kind of.
Great. So I don't know about you, but I think it's really great that you're doing that, because I can definitely get newitis, where I think the newer stuff that I've written can be better, and I can just discard some of the older stuff. But then when you listen back to it, you're like, oh, actually.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I've been trying to, the newer stuff is, more cohesive in sound probably. Like, but anything, when you write in a batch, kind of things end up reasonably coming together to like a bit more. But I've got this kind of like back catalogue of stuff that I'm trying to like get through and sort into like, okay, this could be, these four could go together and these four could go. But it's just a question of when I get time to record them.
Yeah. It's a long process.
Yeah.
How are you finding that as a self-funded artist? How are you finding the release schedule?
It's tricky. Like the new stuff that like we're recording at the moment. We're doing it in we're doing 4 songs in a big batch, just like so, and that should last me quite a while. But it requires budgeting, like every month, and tightening your belt. And
yeah.
I eat pretty much nothing but rice and beans for the last week of every month.
Yeah.
So that I can afford
all the games.
The photography. No, it's tricky. It's like, but I think everyone's dealing with that. And it's, again, it's like where you put your money. Like I won't go on holiday this year, but like I will go and play festivals, and that's where I want to put my time and my money and my effort.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So as long as you like enjoy what you're doing, I suppose, but you can save money on other things. Like.
Yeah.
Tricky.
I guess it's like the Tony Robbins thing, that you like when you look back, you won't remember everything. You'll just have like memories that like really mean a lot. So.
Yeah, and it's like last summer was the first year I kind of got any sort of festivals at all, and that was like, it was great fun. Like I was one small one in Epsom, and played just before the Hoosiers.
Did you?
And it was really cool. It was like just bouncing up and down, and then being backstage and like like little marquee tents.
Yeah.
Just awesome. And so like just that's what I remember from that summer, was just kind of just being. I don't remember being in the car for 6 hours a day, getting back and forth. I remember that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have you got any festivals that you got your sights on?
Well, I think I've sent out about 150 emails so far.
Big.
Going to send out 150. I keep a list. I've been building a list of like festival emails and stuff for the last year. If I can't find a booking contact, I'll go onto LinkedIn, find out who works there, and find their emails. I think I got playing folk in a field. Up in Northamptonshire. I'm quite excited about that one. That's gonna be really cool.
Wicked.
Got a couple of like really tiny ones like back home near Bristol. But I'm still holding out for I don't know, maybe one or two others.
Glasgow.
Yeah, well, I managed to get the email address for the people that run the big acoustic stage, and they're like, no, we don't have space for you. I was like, okay.
I think like a lot with the emails, it's like it's so good you're doing it because it took me decades to get into like the business side of things, and then figure out like follow up emails or like just getting the business side of things going, because you can apply for stuff, and it's similar for putting things out on social media or Spotify. If you just put stuff out and it just kind of you put all this effort into it, and then it goes off into the ether. But like
shouting the void is painful.
Yeah. Have you got views to get like mailing lists and?
Yeah, I'm building one at the moment. I've started using like just like bands in town, like which is like the new song kick kind of thing, and it sticks all your gigs on. Like you can stick them, track them. People can follow you on there, and you can send out mailers and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the next one will be to like make one of those WhatsApp groups, like the announcement chats, because I think that's a really good way of doing it.
You show me I'm 36, mate. I'm behind this. What?
Yeah.
What's
you can do like it's like it's a group chat on WhatsApp, but only the host can like message or like control stuff. So basically, amazing. You just like say it's instead of a mailing list, you just get added to a WhatsApp group chat. There's a couple of people I follow, and they do these brilliant little gigs where it's like but they don't call them gigs. It's a happening or something, and they basically put in the group chat like this date, this time, come down, and it's just a really good way of kind of like connecting with people or keeping people engaged.
Yeah.
Because people don't see everything on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, so you have to find those ways.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Hopefully I'll be getting some notifications soon. On that, we will go to your second song, 1,000 Ways.
Infinite monkeys who learned how to type, smashed infinite keys for infinite nights. There's not a song or sonnet that they wouldn't write. They'd end up writing them all. With that being said, I think we'd hardly be keen to say that a ballad brought about by such means has any more meaning than a meaning at all. You don't say I love you with a roll of the dice. You say it in the small things, the way that you hold them at night. A kiss on the cheek from the person you love means more than anything that I'll ever write. There's 1,000 ways to tell you I love you, it feels wrong to settle for one. 1,000 ways to tell you I miss you whenever you're gone. Don't mean to say that there's no value in words. If they didn't have power, no books would ever be burned. But without a speaker or a voice to be heard, they're just fucking markings or noise. You don't need to write poems or write beautiful songs. If you say what you're feeling, no words could ever be wrong. Just tell them that you see them before too long. You don't say I love you with syntax, you say it with soul. 1,000 ways to tell you I love you, it feels wrong to settle for one. 1,000 ways to tell you I miss you whenever you're gone. say that I love you, it feels wrong to settle for one. 1,000 ways to say that I miss you whenever you're gone. 1,000 ways to say that I love you. 1,000 ways to say that I miss you. 1,000 ways to say that I want you. 1,000 ways to say that I need you. 1,000 ways to say that I love you. 1,000 ways to say that I love you.
Alright, that was another brilliant song. Thanks for that. I love that performance. Again, we mentioned earlier, lyric-wise, that books were kind of maybe unintentionally.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know, like, yeah, the line about books in the second verse, I wrestled with that for quite a while, because it's like, I was trying to, like, articulate this sort of, like, abstract idea that, you know, that words have meaning, but they don't have meaning unless they're said, you know, like, and I just kind of came across that idea of, you know, well, you know, people burn books because they think they're dangerous, like, and so words do have power, they must have power. Plus I just like the way it kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's a cool lyric. Was there any, in that performance there's larger parts that when you're looping and it's instrumental, was there any like intention to put more instrumental in to kind of, because there's lines about you don't show love through syntax, you show it through soul.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if music's kind of like seen as a language of the soul. So I was wondering if there was any intent to put a bit more music in that one.
I shall say yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it was more just I was just playing it. That was the first song that I wrote with once I got the loop pedal, as in the first one that I arranged with the loop pedal.
Okay.
So a lot of that was just me messing around with it and kind of coming up with this like nice like jaunty, folky sound out of it. But yeah, the soul thing. Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
It's cool, like the limitations, like with you got your new pedal.
Yeah.
And, like the limitations of not knowing what to do just meant you just experimented and played with it.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you can get these like enormous ones now, like loop pedals and stuff with like about 50 million buttons and settings. It's just like, it's ridiculous. I thought I went for the one I've got because it restricts you to two channels. So, and I always think that sometimes, well, not always, but sometimes restricting yourself means you have to be creative with what you do, and it also means you don't over rely on the pedal.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing I didn't want to do, is like be a looper artist, you know, in that sense. Like, I wanted all the songs to be able to work without it, so in order to make that happen, they can't be overly arranged live with a complicated loop setup. Yeah. But it is cool what you can do with them. Like, it blows me away what some people do with them.
Well, how are you finding? Because you're saying you kind of want to break out of the, well, not be put into.
It's just like you know, I think people see looper and they all say Ed Sheeran, or you know, you become a looper, and it's a great tool, but it's also, you know, not like you wouldn't want that to become just like your main identity. I think as a songwriter is that you've got cool looping bits. You know, I'd like to think that the songs would stand up on their own anyway. Yeah. So I always try and make sure that they do. Like, I can play them without the loop stuff. And in, you know, in a while it'd be nice to have a band to do some of these bigger arrangements with. But again, I've got lots of lovely friends that would offer to play, but I don't want to like force them to play a show until I can actually you know, pay them some for their time. Yeah. So until then, I'll stick with the ghost in the machine.
Yeah. No, it's cool because the limit, especially with people having a perception of what a looper is. I guess, do you find it a good challenge to just get extra creative in your arrangements and songwriting?
Yeah, I think a lot of the loop stuff I'd seen people doing before, like like, I mean, you know, like the first one I ever saw was Katie Tunstall doing, and she was really creative with it. That was on later.
Yeah, breakthrough performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic and just brilliant. But I think a lot of people I've seen people fall into this trap of like, you can build up a whole arrangement of like, but then you don't go anywhere with it. Like, you just spend like 5 minutes building a song, and you sing over it, and then you're done. And I wanted to kind of keep some of like the folkiness and the liveness to it as well. So with like, you know, multiple guitar harmonies and things like that, rather than just building up like the chords and the drum patterns and stuff. Because I love that kind of twangy, folky texture that you get when you've actually got a full band. So it's just my way of trying to capture a bit of that.
Your full band setup when you're loaded.
Dream Team.
What have you got an ideal setup in terms of what instruments you want?
Keys player. Oh, mandolin as well.
Nice.
We got a lot. There's mandolin on all the new tracks that I'm
Amazing.
putting out. Because I retuned it. And I was like, yeah, this is right. Good. We're using this now.
Nice.
But yeah, like mandolin, keys, and there's a few with a bit of saxophone as well.
Nice.
But that starts to be quite a large band. It's quite expensive.
Turn into a ska band then. You have like 17 members.
Yeah, well, I just poached them from friends' bands and put together a dream team.
Yeah, you need a string section as well for listening to London.
Yes, yeah. Full string section as well. God,
that'd be great. So, and while you get into that point, tech wise, we're having a bit of a geek out about your pedal board.
Yeah, it's the looper. It's the Boss RC500. It's the replacement one that they brought out for the one that Sheeran started with, and the one that everyone had, like the first one. And then I've also got on there like a little modified mini wah, which is also like, if I flick a switch, it's down at it's like a mid pass like filter.
Okay,
and it's I didn't do the wiring on it. I'm not that. There's a guy in Stroud called Dex Audio, and all the pedals and guitars you buy from him are all modded. He's just added stuff to them.
Cool.
I've got that, and I've got like recently got an octopedal. Just because you can do some quite cool stuff with adding a bit of bass in there and just packing it out a little bit more. And then just a Behringer like a acoustic preamp / EQ, which I think I picked up for about 25 quid off eBay or Facebook Marketplace or something. I've seen people with much nicer ones, but it just gives you that control. When you're playing in like every venue you play, slightly different, and especially when you're playing these small venues. And having that just gives me a bit more control over like the sound. So if things are running too hot, I can kind of bring it back and add a bit more bass where I need it, like brighten up the sound as well. It's just it's like it's a few more moving parts, but I like to be able to be as consistent as I can.
Especially while you haven't got a sound guy or girl. You want to, obviously you do great having as much control as possible, because every venue is just like it's completely different, isn't it?
It's funny. Like did a gig yesterday, and we didn't actually get time for sound check because the venue manager didn't show up until 5 minutes before doors.
Good.
So I'm pretty sure I actually played the whole gig with like guitar like kind of rolled off at the bottom.
Oh really?
Because I didn't have time to tell him, just like leave it flat and I'll do everything. So I think the drums were a little bit tinny, the drum parts, but it's part of the fun of it, I suppose, is the rolling with the punches.
Yeah. Because you've gone through 3 stages. You've kind of been acoustic, then you got the looper, and then you've kind of modded your board with like the where you can do the octave and like kind of sculpt your sound a little bit more. Have you found that when you've been playing songs live, you've kind of had a better reaction as you've got more of a fuller?
It's little things like I've also got I've got a delay pedal on there as well, just because there's sometimes just to fill out the riff a little bit. Like it I think you can create a slightly richer sound, and anything that makes it sound like bigger, I suppose, is going to help. It's definitely something. It's like a danger with the looping is that it can sound quite just like a guitar being played in 5 different ways. At the start I was very kind of against it. I mean, I used to be the kind of guitar player that was against capos. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Yeah, you can't,
all over the
like,
shape.
yeah, just use a bar chord. If you can't play bar chords, grow up. Like, but that's when I was only playing electric and like punk stuff. So I've come around to it. Like, you can have a bit more control. You can make it bigger, sound better, and that's great. I think recently it has helped. The octave pedal doesn't get used that much, but it just like adds a bit more oomph.
Yeah.
When you come to some of those bigger like crescendos, which was lacking a little bit because it's an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the capo thing, Springsteen only ever plays with the capo, so
Yeah, I know.
we're all good. But I've been like that. I'm gonna learn the chord.
Just
Yeah.
ideological 16-year-olds. No capos.
I'm gonna be a proper guitar.
Yeah.
Alright, just before we wrap up, it's been wonderful having you. Have you got any live shows or anything that you've got coming up that you're particularly excited about?
Well, there's always more live shows, which I will say you can find on Instagram and like bands in town on my Spotify and stuff, because I don't know exactly which shows I can talk about. Folk in the Field's gonna be great. Some more festivals, and should be new music coming in like a month or two.
Amazing.
Is the aim, and then kind of have singles coming out for the rest of the year.
Amazing. Well, I'm very excited, as we all are, to hear the new stuff. For now, to wrap up the show, you'll be performing You Only Like Me When I'm Drunk. Thank you very much for coming in, bro.
Thanks very much.
Never seen so many dogs trying to drink from the same bowl with tongues out. You're like the book that everybody wants to read. Everyone is checking you out. And I'm not looking for something extensive, I'm just looking for a little right now. In the morning with a little perspective, we'll realize it would never work out. 'Cause you only like me when you're drunk. I'd never call you when I'm sober. It's Friday night and I've had 4 pints, so tell me, do you wanna come over? You only like me when you're drunk. I'd never call you when I'm sober. So how about we get another round in? This night doesn't have to be over. Never seen so many texts just left lying there on red with 2 ticks. I'm the very definition of madness, repeating myself till it clicks. And I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but I've had it with the old one too. This picture's getting pretty monochromatic, and this color's not good on you. 'Cause you only like me when you're drunk. I'd never call you when I'm sober. It's Friday night and I've had 4 pints, so tell me, do you wanna come over? You only like me when you're drunk. I'd never call you when I'm sober. So how about we get another round in? This night doesn't have to be over. 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 never call you when I'm sober. It's Friday night and I've had 4 pints, so tell me, do you wanna come over? You only like me when you're drunk. I never call you when I'm sober. So how about we get another round in? This night doesn't have to be over. You only like me when you're drunk. You only like me when you're drunk. Only like me when you're drunk. You only like me when you're drunk. I'd never call you when I'm sober. You only like me when you're drunk. The morning after would be a disaster, so let's put it to bed now. I'm done.